The next race up will be the first superheat for Junior Rotax Primo.
Grid then for Superheat 1 for Junior Primo. We'll see Stanley Clark with 2 heat victories yesterday going off pole position. Elijah Hazelwood, the championship leader, is behind him. He comes into this with the largest championship lead of the series, 35 points back to Lewis Gilbert. We'll see where he is as we run through the grid. Row number 2, Lily Shaw and Isaac Jameson, with Ronnie Legg and Alfie Forrester on row 3 in front of Harry Ward and Charlie Thompson. Then it's going to be Zach Jennings and Elijah Hartley completing your top 10 in front of Cooper Campbell-Lees and Jasper Oakes. Lewis Gilbert, aforementioned, second in the championship, but down the order goes off P13 with Miles Cleworth. Then it's Ethan Bath and Zach McKay with Blair Smith and Thomas Ambler in front of Oscar Shirvik and Aston Brown. Then it's going to be Noah Clark and Piers Whitehead, Luke Wells and George Ralston in front of Samuel Yeadon and Josh Whittaker, Maxim Karuk and Louis Brown. And then it's Thomas Butcher in the 54, completing your 29 Junior Primo runners here at Paul Fletcher International. Drivers just completing the second of 2 rolling up laps. As they make their way round, it will be Stanley Clark in the colours of Hunter Motorsport to lead us through. Lily Shaw, second on track at the moment, but will line up behind Stanley Clark. So it's going to be Clark for Hunter Motorsport on the inside, Elijah Hazelwood for X-Kart on the outside of the front row. Clark with the perfect day yesterday, pole position and 2 heat victories for Clark.
I've got to say, Stanley Clark, quick little story, he doesn't race that often, but he travelled all the way from his home in England to Sarno, Italy, last October to watch his friends with his mum in the Rotax Grand Finals, which is a fantastic bit of support for Stanley. He's a really nice lad, you know, and they've done that, and that's a lot of these drivers, he travelled all the way to Italy just to watch his mates race go-karts for their country, which is great.
Getting bumped along as he's trying to slow the pace down for this Junior Primo Superheat. Into the tram lines we go. Are we going to be happy at the first time of asking? Yes, we are, and we're away and racing from the outside of the front row. Elijah Hazelwood chops across the bows of the 51 of Stanley Clark, and Hazelwood will lead us into the bowl for the first time. Clark, with the perfect day yesterday, is going to have to work hard now to find a way back past Hazelwood, up and over the bridge and down towards hairpin 1 for the first time.
Now, this class and the Mighty Bambinos, this is the class where most of these drivers are racing here for the first time. Yesterday, obviously, they had their first taste of how this circuit races, not how it practices or how it qualifies, but how it runs in race conditions. So even though we could see a slightly different style of racing than we're used to seeing in Junior Rotax, just because the level of experience of some of these drivers isn't as much. Or on saying that, we could see an even bigger bun fight because the drivers think, well, to heck with it, let's just go for it. Like I can overtake on every single corner. This is great. But it's Hazelwood, Clark and Jameson leading the way at the moment. Stanley Clark up the inside. And the Hunter Motorsport team, Reese Hunter, is here. Now, in this race, we do have Lewis Gilbert. Our Lewis Gilbert, not the Lewis Gilbert. Lewis Gilbert, as in a multiple British Championship race winner, owner of Craft Motorsport. Oh, and there's another exhaust getting spat.
Ronnie Legg, I think, is the driver whose exhaust has gone for one.
That was, again... And it's the slowing down there. That is Ronnie Legg about to depart this race. Lewis Gilbert of Potenza Racing Engines is also here in the paddock. It's interesting, more and more of the top teams in the country, I'm not saying anything against the teams that race here anyway, but more and more of the teams that compete solely in the British Championship are now coming and laying a ground here as well. Which shows that the championship is gaining momentum all the time, gaining stature, and it does mean that the likes of X-Kart, that the likes of Bradley Shepherd Racing and ST Racing and some of the other teams that are here in this paddock but don't race in the British Championship. They're having to up their game as well, and as you can see, they're doing just that.
Certainly are. The top three breaking away behind them. We've had Charlie Thompson get past Lily Shaw at hairpin 1 on the previous lap, and Shaw will drop down a few extra places, I think, because Thompson was very robust in the overtake, and you can see how much of a gap that's opened up, and this is really a staple of Junior Primo. You'll see maybe a breakaway of a smaller bunch than what we saw in Junior Rotax, and the field does tend to fragment a little bit more than the traditional Rotax races just because of the experience levels. As wide goes a driver at the final corner.
Alfie Forrester, I believe that might have been.
I think he was the driver involved in the Ronnie Legg incident as well, so he's just in a bit of a reset mode for a few laps just to get himself... Oh, there's more contact as they head up towards the entrance to the bridge. Two drivers off and onto the grass. They're hooked up with each other. They gave each other a fist bump.
As in, sorry, my bad. It's the 17 and the 20. Miles Cleworth and Jasper Oakes. Jasper Oakes already not showing up on our timing screens because, well, I mean, and I think that might be a transponder issue, but he's certainly not going to be showing up on our transponder screens, on our timing screens anymore, sadly. And you saw the black plate on the number 17, Miles Cleworth. He's still in one of his first 5 or 6 Motorsport UK licensed races.
There's going to be a bit of a change in dynamic at the front, I believe, here, Henry, because in second place, Elijah Hazelwood's been adjudged to have jumped the start. He's got a 5-second penalty, so now he needs to push Stanley Clark away and open up sufficient gap so that, at the very worst, he just drops behind Isaac Jameson, because there's already a gap back to Lily Shaw and Charlie Thompson in 4th and 5th place, but he's got to try and push away now. He needs another second or so that to minimise the effect of that penalty. 5 seconds for Elijah Hazelwood is going to potentially drop him down the order, but the further he can push away with your race leader Stanley Clark, it will minimise the effect of that penalty on the 21, the current championship leader.
Yes, so at the moment, Elijah Hazelwood would slot in just behind Lily Shaw and in front of Charlie Thompson, Alfie Forrester and Oscar Chezovic. But you can see Hazelwood he's just got to get his head down. Still yellow flags, yellow lights waving. As you can see there from your camera angle, one of the karts that was involved in that earlier incident is still at the side of the circuit. The marshals are going to be making their way and removing that as quickly as possible. But up at the front, Stanley Clark. Stanley, let's have a little look. So in the opening race of the opening round of he finished 22nd, did Stanley, in last year's Junior Primo Championship. Again, didn't do a full season. So this is his seasonal debut. As we look at the number 78 kart there of Lily Shaw, just coming under a more sustained attack now by the 29 of Oscar Chezovic. As they cross the line, and behind that battle, there goes Lewis Gilbert, passing Charlie Thompson. Cooper Campbell-Lees also up into P4 now. Cooper Campbell-Lees was leading the championship, but then at the end of the opening 2 rounds, but had a shocking Glenagorse. He's now fourth. I
think that's a timing issue, because he was 24th on the previous lap, so it would have been a hell of a lap for Campbell-Lees.
Well, it's either a timing issue or... Well, let's have a little look at the...
It's Lily Shaw definitely in 4th place. That's Noah Clark making his way through. He started well down the order and has made up well over 10 places so far as Noah Clark.
Who's that in 3rd place? That's Jameson in 3rd place. Oh, no, that is Cooper Campbell-Lees.
It is.
In 4th position.
So it would have been a transponder issue early in the race.
It's a transponder issue, or lack thereof.
Yes, well, he falls down the order and then he gets replaced back up.
Well, now there's 2 possible outcomes here. Number 1 is that Cooper Campbell-Lees has got his transponder on. It's just not charged properly. That's okay. If he hasn't got it on at all, then that's not okay. Because the time, again, Heath is up here, our chief timekeeper, and they will assess the car. As soon as the end of the race, the officials in scrutineering will look, and if that transponder has not been put on at all, then I believe that could be an exclusion from the race. But we shall see. Here we go. Hazelwood at the moment. Well, Hazelwood has done enough. He's only going to drop one position at the moment, and that is going to be behind his teammate Isaac Jameson, who is running a very lonely third. Of course, this is the most daunting track in the UK. It's the home of British karting. It's the most fearsome track in the UK. And of course, if you're just starting out in karting, this is the track where it takes the longest for you to get up to speed and the confidence that you need to drive this track quickly. Because as we've already, there's no such thing as a small accident here generally.
No, and with the amount of corners and complexes that you have to hook corners up as well, if you lose a tenth on each one, all of a sudden you're a second off the front runners, and this is why it's so difficult. We see in the club meetings here at Trent Valley that the newer drivers, they'll take almost a year sometimes. Qualifying straight for an A final at Trent Valley Kart Club in Junior Rotax is an achievement in the first season for a driver. So that's sort of how fearsome and how difficult this track is to hook it up and to get that sort of rhythm, because every corner, particularly this right-hander that Clark's coming up to, the most important corner on the track for me, because that you're carrying all your speed down this back straight towards the hairpin number one, particularly with a tailwind as well here today, with the wind blowing from the bridge down towards hairpin one, is very, very important.
And of course, in British karting, there is no stretch of track where you are at full throttle for a longer period of time anywhere in the country than you are as you exit the final corner and go out onto the banking. That is the longest stretch of track where you are at full throttle, and in the middle of that section you've got to go through a chicane under a bridge. So it is not for the faint-hearted as the last lap board goes out. Clark, Hazelwood, now this is interesting because Isaac Jameson is 4.2, he's
3.8 behind.
3.8. Oh, good maths there, David, good maths. If he can pick up another 1.2 seconds over Jameson on this last lap, he won't lose any places at all. That's a big ask, however.
No, fastest lap of the race, though, on the previous one by Elijah Hazelwood, the 58.44 for Hazelwood, as he tries to open that gap up to Isaac Jameson in third place. Yellow flag at hairpin one, but it's not going to affect the leaders because they are up and into the Mike Wilson complex for the final time. Stanley Clark, with the gap of around about 7 tenths, is going to take what will be another comfortable victory for the 51 in Junior Primo.
Here we go. Clark across the line, checkered flag in the air. Hazelwood second on the road. Jameson will take third. There's Cooper Campbell Lees in fourth. And the gap with then Forrester, Zach Mackay, Zach Jennings, and how many places does Elijah Hazelwood end up losing, David?
1.
That is what you would call result salvaged.
In this Junior Primo second superheat.
Here we go, then. Your starting lineup is as follows. Race 1 winner, Stanley Clark, and championship leader, Elijah Hazelwood on row number 1. Lily Shaw and Isaac Jameson from the Zenico Racing project. His family run that. It's very good as well. It is Isaac Jameson who does that, or am I getting it wrong? No, it's not. No, it's Zach Jennings.
Zach Jennings.
There we are.
Isaac Jameson has his own YouTube following as well. He's big on the YouTube.
Big on the YouTube.
Big on the YouTube. Ronnie Legg goes P5 with Alfie Forrester for company. Harry Ward and Charlie Thompson on row number 4.
Then it's Zach Jennings from Zenico Racing, a great little project. We'll talk about that a little bit later on if we get time. Elijah Hartley, Cooper Campbell-Leaves and Jasper Oakes. I've left you no time there, David, to run the rest of the grid very quickly.
Then it's Lewis Gilbert and Miles Cleworth, Ethan Bath and Zach McKay with Blair Smith and Thomas Ambler, Oscar Chesovic and Aston Brown in front of Noah Clark and Piers Whitehead, Luke Wells and George Ralston with Samuel Yeadon, Josh Whittaker, Maxim Carrock, Louis Brown and Thomas Butcher completing your Junior Primo grid.
Superbly professional, perfect timing, carts are in the tram lines, lights are out, racing is on, and Clark gets swamped at the start. Elijah Hazelwood takes the lead going into turn number 1. The rest of the Junior Primo field, while there was a couple of drivers in the middle of the pack diving up and over each other, and one or two of them have found the banking and... couldn't quite see who they were, but the yellow flags are out. 2 drivers, one of them driving TB karts. Both emerge back onto the circuit. And Stanley Clark under pressure. Stanley Clark showing I've been passed round the outside once this lap by a TB kart. I will not be passed twice.
Well, he dropped back to 3rd at the start. Elijah Hazelwood going round the outside of Clark for the second time in 2 Junior Primo starts. And then Stanley Clark introducing Isaac Jameson to his side pod at hairpin number 2, moves back up into 2nd place.
Yes, well, I mean, this is my side pod. You can touch the brake unless you want to see more of it. How's that? Lily Shaw up into 3rd position. What a turnaround for the driver of kart number 78. 25th at Shennington. 24th last time out at Glenagorse. She's up into 3rd and driving a Stormer here. And that whole team looking very, very strong as well. Now, is that the Pantano?
Well, that was Alfie Forrester going for 1 overtake and then accidentally overtaking Ronnie Legg as well and getting 2 in 1.
There we go. And now Stanley Clark closing back in on Elijah Hazelwood. Now, this is where Hazelwood will be thinking to himself, well, this is where Hazelwood's team around him are thinking to himself, okay, Clark is not a championship threat. You know, finishing 2nd is still more points than the rest of your season-long title rivals. Do you want to risk...
Clark's gone off by himself!
Clark clips the inside curbing there, and the car literally turned left at full speed and shot up the banking, and...
You might have to pay to get back in, Henry.
I mean, that was... Where has Stanley Clark... Has he emerged? The Pantano
Yes,
car.
he has. He's behind the 27 of Piers Whitehead.
All I'm saying is that Stanley Clark is glad he's wearing a dark-coloured race suit because he got his left front wheel on the curb going on to the banking, and he clipped it at just the wrong angle, and it obviously caught the track rod and turned him sharp right up the banking.
He's going to cross the line in P17, I think, behind Piers Whitehead's
That's
27. Hopefully we get another look at that, because that was a very, very strange one for Stanley Clark, who we've got a driver rejoining, having gone off onto the rumble strip on the outside. But for Stanley Clark, he thought about that move down the inside, and yeah, like I say, very, very strange one for Clark.
I know Stanley's mum is watching. Have you brought a spare race suit and underwear? Because that was scary. Stanley carries on in the... I'm trying to see exactly. You said he was 17th crossing the line there. That was... yes.
Yeah, still there as well, behind Piers Whitehead. So...
Now, these new Pantano karts, we're looking there at the number 79 kart of Alfie Forrester. We've also got to the second.
So, well, Lily Shaw's the first one, Forrester's the second one.
Yeah, these Giorgio Pantano chassis, one of them has got no nose cone on it. That is the number 61.
Oh, we've got 2 round, and the 61 is one of them, Henry.
Ah, right, yes. So Charlie Thompson is going to be retiring very shortly. But these Pantano karts are very, very impressive indeed. And they obviously like PFI a lot. new to the UK market this year. Lily Shaw getting passed by Alfie Forrester. The team here running them, very good indeed. And there's lots of action going on.
Forrester
chopping and changing.
briefly up to second place. Isaac Jameson wrestles it back, but Alfie Forrester briefly up to second. The car in front should peel off into the pit lane as Lily Shaw gets back down the inside of Alfie Forrester. He goes wide. Ronnie Legg back through into what will be fifth place as well.
Yeah, indeed. I would say new to the UK market this year, these Giorgio Pantano karts, very impressive indeed, I have to say. They're sort of not quite fluorescent yellow. They're not comp kart yellow, but they're, they're sort of a mustardy yellow, if anything. That's probably the only downside is the colour of the wagon. Elijah Hazelwood leading comfortably. Isaac Jameson second. Lily Shaw back to third. There is Ronnie Legg holding off Alfie Forrester. Then it's Miles Cloworth. Lewis Gilbert is seventh. Elijah Hartley eighth. Noah Clark. Stanley Clark is back to 10th. Make that 9th, because I've just seen him out of the corner of my eye, passing the number 44 kart of Noah Clark for P9. That's an incredible run. Zach Jennings down in 17th. What a little bit with 3 minutes to go. What's Zenico Racing? It's a Zach's parents, they run that. They offer a free advice service. So if somebody's going to a new track, say Raura, and they want a bit of driver coaching, Zenico Racing, Zach Jennings' parents, they will put that driver in touch with some local experts.
Yeah, basically they've got a group of members you can join. If you're going to a new track, they'll put you in touch with somebody at that track so you can go. They'll help you out with gearing, with racing lines. Basically, it gives you sort of a friend before you go because you have to learn quite a lot. They've got a YouTube channel for Zenico Racing where they'll do 3 videos per race weekend, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a very real and a very raw... Oh, we've got a driver straight through, sorry, Henry, through the barrier.
Oh.
It's one of the X-Kart drivers from... the mid-pack has gone straight through the barrier at hairpin 1, and that is Cooper Campbell-Lees, I believe. In the 11 it is, because he's got running a special livery, and he's gesticulating to the driver that he feels has helped him through.
He was running just behind Thomas Butcher and just in front of George Ralston. Now, as you will be aware, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I would say it's probably... one of those two who he was congratulating, gesticulating to, admonishing.
Top work.
Yes. Thank you for smashing me through a barrier. If that is indeed what happened, it could have been a brake failure.
It could have been.
Could have been.
He wasn't gesticulating at his brake, was he?
No, he wasn't.
We'll go back to Zenico at the end of this race, because we are a minute and 30 away, and the battle for sort of second and third has seen Jameson and Ronnie Legg break away. Lily Shaw holding firm, though, in fourth place now, has got Miles Cleworth behind. And Stanley Clark, the recovering Stanley Clark, he was down in 17th, is on the back of this train now, in the green helmet, for Hunter Motorsport.
Clark, that's... look back at the start of this race when you get a chance on the live stream to see what happened. Now, the Battenberg flags are going out.
Gutting for Hazelwood, who's going to have try and win this race twice, Henry.
Is there going to be time?
Well.
Because there are 2 marshals at the exit of hairpin 1. They are on the racing, just outside the race line. But, of course, Cooper Campbell-Lees went through the barriers. They're putting the barriers back in place. Now, if Elijah Hazelwood is smart, he will now crawl round they're going to get 1 lap to go anyway. So the clock will strike 0.
Well, he wants to cross. He wants to cross the line just 1 second after that 0.
Yes,
and hopefully with the Battenberg flag still in the air. For me, he needs to just up the pace a little bit to try and get round before they finish the work. Because if he backs them up too much, he will. But obviously, he's got to maintain the speed.
The marshals here at TKC.
He's been given a bit of a hurry up because he's gone through that chicane a lot quicker. By somebody in the grandstand here. Are we going to go green? Do we get a Junior Primo Superheat 1-lap shootout? Does Elijah Hazelwood have to win this race twice?
I can see the last lap board. I don't think... Let's have a look. is the cleanup finished? Do you know what? It's going to be the end of the race. It's not going to be. It's the last lap.
And the
board,
checkered
and the checkered has come out. They're not going to go racing again. So I think probably what they did is say, well, do you know what? We're not going to go racing again. We're quite far behind the timetable. The order isn't going to change.
Let's save some time.
Let's save some time.
Great call.
Elijah Hazelwood, Isaac Jameson, Ronnie Legg, Lily Shaw, and Miles Cleworth, the top 5. Alfie Forrester, Lewis Gilbert, Stanley Clark, Noah Clark, and Luke Wells, your top 10.
As we were talking about Zenico, yeah, they have a YouTube channel that is growing week on week. With that, they 3 videos a week. Yep. It's a very. I spoke to them. It's a raw look at motorsport. It's real. It doesn't hide the fact that there's difficult days. They don't just do videos when they win. They do videos when they lose. They do video, and it's very real. There's a lot of footage off track of, of mum and dad watching it, and you get a live reaction to some incidents from mum and dad, and it is a very real, and I think that's why people are emigrating towards that channel.
Oh, excellent.
A very, very honest view of the sport that we all love.
Yes, and as we wait for the next race, which is Junior Primo.
Right, then, let's have a quick look at your grid for our Junior Primo final here. Then Stanley Clark will start on pole position. Eliza Hazelwood, the championship leader, alongside Isaac Jameson and Alfie Forrester on row 2. Lily Shaw and Lewis Gilbert on row number 3. Then it's Zach Jennings and Ronnie Legg, Noah Clark and Luke Wells in front of Oscar Sherovic, and Zach McKay with Blair Smith and Cooper Campbell-Lees on row 7. Charlie Thompson starts in 15th with Harry Ward alongside Aston Brown and Piers Whitehead on row 9. Samuel Yeadon and Miles Cleworth on row number 10 in front of George Ralston and Thomas Ambler. Then it's going to be Jasper Oakes and Ethan Bath, Elijah Hartley and Josh Whittaker in front of Louis Brown and Maxime Carrock. And then Thomas Butcher completes your grid here then in our Junior Primo final. Going to have a quick look back at our Junior Rotax repechage to see if anybody got penalties, and indeed they did. Elliot Surtees, Charlie Eibel, Shea Hilton and Adam Jadowstis, who started last and came through to be classified in 4th place in that class. We already knew that Karthik Kumeta had a penalty. There was one applied as well to Connor Large that took him out of the top 4. That was for gaining an unfair advantage. And Jack Harrison, who also finished in the top 5, would have been promoted, except his nose fell off, which meant that he was removed from the standings due to a non-compliance. So, all change in the repechage. Everybody, the top 4 going through, and we've already got a kart stationary. It's the 20 of Jasper Oakes, who was due to go off P23, so we're going to roll round for a second time, and Jasper Oakes, his Junior Primo final is over before it started. The number 20 machine is being dragged away to safety. Jasper Oakes walks to the sanctuary of the Marshal's post on the inside of the Terry Fullerton S, and we are one kart down before we were due to start. So he is moved to safety, and once the field go past the outside of hairpin number 1, I think number 20 may well be dragged further away.
Poor old Jasper Oakes. Still 28 Junior Primos to play with. Lovely. 12 minutes plus a lap.
I'm not sure if you've heard, Henry. All change in the top 4 in the repechage. Adam Giardausis did make it through.
Oh, wow.
Because we had the non-compliance for Jack Harrison. We had penalties applied to Connor Large. So Adam Giardausis, who started last, finished 7th, but was classified 4th, will make the big show.
It's on a day like this where you think, right, I'm going to go and buy a lottery ticket on the way home. My luck is in. Clark and Hazelwood. Well, Stanley Clark, that is the same race suit he had on in the second superheat. So
Probably thrown some water on him.
Yes. And Elijah Hazelwood, Jameson, Forrester, Lily Shaw, and then Lewis Gilbert and Zach Jennings, who I'm told are exchanging Christmas cards this year. I errantly said they weren't going to after an incident at the start of the season, but they are the best of mates for now. Here we go.
Good start from Clark. Good start as well from Isaac Jameson from the second row. He jumps past Elijah Hazelwood and up into second place. Hazelwood then down into third. Looks like it's been another good start. It has, by Lily Shaw up into fourth place. Alfie Forrester off the second row. Drops 2 places, one behind Jack Jennings and the other behind Lily Shaw. Driver up on the curb.
And one cart with a nose cone no longer attached to it. And judging by the way that cart was... snaking around
Charlie
under braking.
Thompson.
Yes, that will be an early bath for Charlie Thompson. The number 57 car, Aston Brown, goes for a spin. Aston Brown on that bright, shiny new TB kart. 5th last time out. He'll be lucky to make it 25th today.
Yeah, we had Louis Brown. That was the driver we saw at the top of the bridge who was mounted up on the curb.
Not a good day if your surname's Brown, I think it's safe to say. So... there are the 2 X-Kart teammates chasing down the Hunter Motorsport kart, and there's a spinner going off under the bridge there. Just caught it out of at the bottom of our screen. Looked like the driver did a full 360 and continued. So good style points for that driver, whoever they were.
Change for second place. Elijah Hartley slides the 21 back down the inside of Isaac Jameson and moves up into second place.
And I'm just trying to see the plain white cart. It's the number 41 of Louis Brown, who did another spin. So Brown and Brown are at the back of the field after having 2 spins for Louis and 1 for Aston. As we complete lap number 2, Stanley Clark pulling away. That Hunter Motorsport Venator engine. I've seen Kai Hunter is here, obviously giving Stanley a bit of driver coaching. Oh, and there was a bit of elbows out going between the group of karts just coming off the bridge now. And it was the Bradley Shepherd Racing livery karts that was this.
That's the KMS machine.
Oh, I do apologise. Yes, the Cato Motorsport.
Of Oscar Sherovic.
Yeah, Oscar Sherovic was sideways going on to the banking. The Pantano kart, Tommy Weir Racing, number 78 of Lily Shaw, was also pointing in lots of different directions apart from the right one. And they both dropped back a little bit.
Gap at the front was 0.7 of a second. These 2 X-Kart drivers are about to be joined by a third in Zach Jennings, who, again this weekend, had a terrible qualifying position. If that lad could quali, he could win some races. The problem is he's always outside the top 10 and then gets forward. He's in with a shout of a podium here once again, is Zach Jennings. In that number 69 machine, was second at round 2 at Shennington, second at round 3 at GYG, in with a shout of another podium here. And like I say, if he could get a qualifying towards the front, he would be in with a chance of winning some races outright in considerably easier fashion than what he's had to do so far this weekend.
Now, we play the usual Junior Primo X-Kart game here. 3 identical chassis, 3 drivers with identical race suits. Elijah Hazelwood has the orange helmet, Isaac Jameson, the green helmet, Zach Jennings, the black helmet. Cooper Campbell-Lees is the 4th member of the squadron. He's got a white crash helmet. So at least they've done the decent thing and paint their crash helmets different colours. So we can tell them apart. Hazelwood in orange, Jameson in green, Jennings in black. Then it's Alfie Forrester, Chezovic, Gilbert, Shaw, Legg and Pierce Whitehead rounding out your top 10, with Cooper Campbell-Lees in 11th position. Then it's Noah Clark, Luke Wells, Miles Cleworth, Zach Mackay, Blair Smith, Ethan Barth, Thomas Butcher, Elijah Hartley and Sam Yeadon rounding out the top 20.
We had yellow flags in the Mike Wilson complex on the previous lap. George Ralston in the 99, his kart being recovered out to safety, but he's going to retire from this Junior Primo final. Gap at the front remains fairly consistent at 0.7 of a second. The train behind were closing in on the previous lap. The gap had gone out, it's come back in, and that looks to me to be slightly closer than 0.7 of a second. We'll see whether my eyes are deceiving me as Hazelwood goes wide out onto the rumble strips, and it remains fairly consistent.
But Jameson in third is now quicker than Hazelwood in second. Now, Isaac Jameson has a quandary now. Does he work with his teammate, who he is faster than, and try and hope to push them both up towards the race leader? Or does he think, I've got to go for it, potentially lose ground to the race leader, and then not be able to close up? So it is a quandary.
Speculate to accumulate. Does he lose a few tenths in the overtake to then believe he's got more pace than Hazelwood to close in on Stanley Clark? We've still got half this race to go. 6:20 on the clock, which will be around about 6 when they go under the timing line. Can these two... I thought Jennings was going to close up and go with, but he has fallen away ever so slightly. Still looks comfortable in fourth, though. There he is in the third of the carts with what appears to be a new Nasso panel on the front.
It's behoven upon Hazelwood to drive tidily now. If Hazelwood starts missing apexes and losing ground, and they did lose a few tenths to Clark on that lap, then Jameson has to go. If Hazelwood keeps up the pace and hits his apexes, and then Jameson will have to push him. But it's all down to what Hazelwood does. They're dropping Jennings now into fourth position, but Jennings has still got a comfortable advantage over Forrester in fifth, Chesevic in sixth, Gilbert, Shaw, Wells and Cloworth, who round out your top 10.
Gap 7.8.
The list of drivers... yes, we've got two carts. Charlie Thompson has also stopped, and there's two carts now at the Mike Wilson complex that are out of this race, Ralston and Thompson. As we look, where's Thomas Butcher? Butcher's up to 21st position, and of course Jasper Oakes failed to take the start as well. His kart is nestling between two barriers on the exit of the second hairpin. Well, it looks as though Elijah Hazelwood has weathered the storm so far, because he's pulling away from Isaac Jameson again, and Hazelwood actually last time round, David, was a tick quicker than the race leader.
He was. It's amazing what he can do when he hasn't got to worry about being overtaken. He has indeed broken the resolve so far of Isaac Jameson, who appears to be falling back now into the clutches of Zach Jennings. Jennings, who I thought was pretty much out of the fight for a podium, is closing back in on his ex-kart teammate Isaac Jameson in front of him. He was 0.8 of a second or so behind it. The gap between them is down to 0.4. Jennings taking chunks out of Jameson.
And if you're thinking, I like the look of those black and white Team X-Kart machines, I fancy driving one of them, well... if you go to the X-Kart website, and again, be careful when you're typing in www.xanything, X-Kart website, you will see a link for the X-Kart Scholarship and how you could get yourself a drive in this championship next year for X-Kart. The scholarship takes place at Wilton Mill in September. And, you can find out there, because Matty Street does an awful lot to try and bring young drivers into karting. That NASA panel for the nose cone of Isaac Jameson, David, looks a little bit on the wibbly-wobbly side.
I think I'd put my house, and I'd also put your house, Henry.
Excellent, because I owe a lot of money on my house.
On that being a front-fairing issue.
Brilliant.
For Isaac Jameson, unfortunately. So, sorry if you're homeless by the end of the evening, but I'm fairly confident that I'm right.
I'll be the only person that is homeless, but a lot richer by the end of it. Here we go then. Just under 3 minutes to go, and Hazelwood is 0.8 of a second behind Clark. Jameson under pressure for third from his teammate Jennings. Forrester a long way back in fourth and is, but again, has got a big lead over the sixth place battle between Chezovic and Lewis Gilbert. Then another big gap back to Lily Shaw, Miles Cloworth in 8th and 9th. Cooper Campbell Lees has got a huge group of drivers behind him, so the main pack of karts is for about 10th place on back. Cooper Campbell Lees, he's got the gold and black special liveried Team X-Kart machine, which we're not seeing a great deal of on our cameras for the sole reason that Cooper Campbell Lees is mired in the mid-pack. And, Zach Jennings has just made an absolute pig's ear of the first hairpin. And all the hard work that driver there on your screen has done to catch his teammate has now been undone.
I feel he may be given a reprieve for that by the very bouncy nose of Isaac Jameson. But nonetheless, he's now going to be a lot closer and give Alfie Forrester a bit of a sniff of closing in on that 69.
Yep.
In front, Forrester, who was well over 1.5 seconds off the back of Zach Jennings, is now within a second of Zach Jennings. 0.8 of a second is the gap. Jennings now still in that fourth place, still fairly comfortable, but just needs to tidy it up for these final few laps. He's got 3 to go.
Less than a minute now remains plus a lap, and we are very, very static at the front. Not completely surprising in Junior Primo, with so many of these drivers being first-time visitors to PF International. And we talked a lot about this is a very fearsome, it's a very daunting track to any newcomer, no matter what kart you're driving. And Junior Rotax happens to be a very, very potent vehicle with which to come here for your first time. And everyone is taking their time to find their level, as it were. What is
Stanley?
James?
Well, I was about to say Stanley Clark absolutely clattered the exit curb of the Fullerton S's and threw 3/10 in the direction of Eliza Hazelwood.
That'll be nerves. That will be nerves, undoubtedly. As what was Isaac Jameson pointing to? He was pointing down towards his engine. As he came across the line. Now, obviously, his mechanic is in the stands there. Not that the mechanic can help him at the moment, but he's just letting the mechanic know there's a problem. If anything happens, don't shout at me, it's not my fault, is what I think he was trying to say. We'll have a little look. He has fallen quite a way back, but of course, nose cone penalty or not, and that's just speculation. Jameson is, all on his own in third place. So, here come your leaders. Has Hazelwood managed to close the gap again on the penultimate lap? The answer, David Sullivan, is...
No, he's lost 1/10 of a second. We were building there to something... we were hoping to build to something that unfortunately we weren't. There is some lap traffic in front, but I don't think they're going to catch them. And if they are, it's going to be right at the end of the lap. In fact, they may do, as the two in front are squabbling. And if they do, it will be in the Mike Wilson complex.
It's Maxim Karuk in the number 74 kart and Louis Brown in the number 41. And I think... now Hazelwood is a lot closer. Stanley Clark, he wants to go as slow as possible to not catch the lapped karts, but also keep Hazelwood behind. Hazelwood's going to have a chance at a run to the flag here, David.
Hazelwood within touching distance of the race leader, out of the final corner. Clark catches the lap traffic, uses the slipstream, punches the air, and Stanley Clark wins in Junior Primo from Elijah Hazelwood and Isaac Jameson. Then it's Zach Jennings, Alfie Forrester and Oscar Chezovic, with Lewis Gilbert, Miles Cleworth, Lily Shaw and Zach McKay completing your top 10.
And did you notice Hazelwood patting the side of his go-kart as he crossed the start-finish line? That means he knows he's happy because Clark is not a threat to him in the championship. Hazelwood has just extended his points lead over Zach Jennings and Lewis Gilbert, as well as the likes of Sam Yeadon, Cooper Campbell-Lees, and of course, Isaac Jameson.
Yeah,
so he was happy with that.
Hazelwood, who came into this race weekend with the largest championship lead of any of our classes. 35 points he had on Lewis Gilbert. Gilbert finished the final in 7th.
And it's
Hazelwood second, which is effectively for him a win against other drivers within the championship. Some great drives. Gilbert did make up a number of places. Miles Cleworth moves up from 20th to 8th. Great drive for him. And Pierce Whitehead, just outside the top 10 in P11, had a steady little drive up through the field as well from P18.
Yes, Cooper Campbell-Lees, Ethan Barth, Elijah Hartley and Aston Brown at the top 15, although Brown does get a 5-second penalty, and that will promote Samuel Yeadon, Noah Clark, Harry Ward, Ronnie Legg and Blair Smith up a few positions. Josh Whittaker and Thomas Butcher were next across the line. Louis Brown and Maxim Karuk both finished, they were a lap down almost. Luke Wells going out on the penultimate lap, and then we saw the retirements of Tom.